Yo, what is up, y'all? Welcome back to my content. This is the Joyce Production. So last night on my community tab that I was gonna do 2 videos into one. First, my thoughts on the Power Rangers Time Force series and the Mortal Kombat commentary news. So before we get into that, if you're new to my channel, subscribe, comment, like, and share. Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. And don't forget to join the joint button because I've just launched the joint button. I encourage y'all to check out my joint button so that way I know who is the newest member of my crew. So with that being said, let's get into the video. My thoughts on the Power Rangers Time Force season is very good. I enjoyed the show. I enjoyed the season. I enjoyed the characters. There were a lot of memorable moments with this season when Eric became the Quantum Ranger, the conflict between West and Jin, and the conflicts between Eric and West towards the finale. I'll kid you not, it's mediocre team up with the Lightspeed Rescue Rangers, but let's just say it's something for the most part. Yeah, Time Force is one of the most interesting shows that I've seen in years because number one, 2001 will be a memorable year for the 9/11 attack. So I think when it comes to Power Rangers Time Force, it handles a mature audience because kids were growing out of Mighty Morphin era onto a mature season on stories that make absolutely sense. And not to mention, it takes itself very seriously. And plus, the show was very dark in its own way. And you know what? I'm glad the Time Force actually did what they did in order to make the show more memorable. And adults like myself that grew up with Power Rangers Time Force still appreciated, the show for itself for what it was. And mind you, it did have some flaws, but the show overall did manage to pay respect to every single moments in Rangers history. And you know what? Power Rangers Time Force alone is such a good show. Like, I don't know what's everybody's deal when it comes to defending the Neo Saban era, because the Neo Saban era was the worst years of Power Rangers. 12 years of 22 episode per season split, which is garbage, and the hiatus was bad altogether, and not to mention it was just not Power Rangers in my honest opinion. The Power Rangers that I used to know ran full seasons in 1 year, not taking long hiatus to wait another month later to release a new episode, which is something that is stupid. I think overall Power Rangers Time Force is such an iconic season. It took itself seriously. It was much different from other PR seasons that we're all used, love, and remember from. But I think Time Force was like a soap opera. Like if you're watching Days of Our Lives, The Bold and the Beautiful, All My Children, General Hospital, like all of the daytime dramas you've watched every single day. I think what started was Power Rangers in space. Actually Mighty Morphin did when they did the Tommy storyline. Then it pretty much transitioned from Mighty Morphin 2 In Space. Then In Space started to get a little daytime drama-ish. But I think Lightspeed Rescue started doing that with this whole music background when it came to Ryan leaving to go on his own mission to stop the Cobra, whichever it is that he was doing towards the close to the season finale of Lightspeed Rescue. But Power Rangers Time Force took they took it to a whole new level of maturity when it comes to action and drama and character emotions. Time Force did every single thing that any Power Ranger fan would want to see. And plus, I forgot to tell you that Power Rangers Time Force was nominated for whatever category they had back in the day in 2001, and I kind of wish they had nominated right now because this show really changed my way of loving Power Rangers when it comes to chip-lit seasons, and I think they did it just right. Overall, my thoughts on Power Rangers Time Force: good show, great action. Even though Time Ranger, Time Force did follow some format of Time Ranger, but I feel like they did it better in my honest opinion. So I think both Time Ranger and Time Force are completely different. So I love them both, honestly. They both get a a big pass for me. So they're both winners. On to the commentary news video. Let's get it.
Fatality.
You know, there's a reason why Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks is one of the most important titles in gaming history, because number one, it was one of those games I've gotten for Christmas in 2005, because I remember playing this game when I was like 14 at the time, and it became one of my favorite games of all time. And mind you, I was too, maybe 2 or 3 years ago when I relived the PS2 era memories, but I think for the most part it worked. But yeah, Shaolin Monks on the big screen, or Shaolin Monks for that matter, it could work if it's done right, and I believe that for a fact. Mortal Kombat reportedly has future installments in the works, and the Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks spin-offs will be the perfect follow-up to start with. After struggling to get off the ground for years, the big screen reboot of Mortal Kombat finally arrived in April 2021. Due to the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic, Mortal Kombat, along with Warner Bros., an entire film slate for the year, also had a day-and-date hybrid release on HBO Max. You know, like I said, if this movie and this game could work at the same time, if they could just somehow take elements from Shaolin Monks, I would think that they would have had some great entertaining fight scenes in terms of the fight choreography. And I would probably replace Simon McQuaid as director, because I did not like how he directed the 2021 film because of the bad cuts and quick cuts and jump cuts. It's like you're not allowing the fight scenes to stay on screen, you're just editing out a lot of stuff. And looking back in my review, I kind of regret not paying attention to the full details of the 2021 Mortal Kombat movie when it comes to fight scenes and such. And I think Simon should just be replaced with a director with great experience who does martial arts movies for a living, and allow these actors to show off their fighting skills and fight scenes on the screen. And Jackie Chan said it best: if you're making a martial arts movie, at least you do is just have the fight scene stay in one area when you're directing a scene one place from another. And I feel like if you're just doing it right, people are gonna want to see more and more fights out of this movie. And plus, the writing of the film needs to be good. I will probably just find somebody who knows a lot about Mortal Kombat to write the Shaolin Monks spin-off, you know, during the events of the first Mortal Kombat movie, and have Liu Kang get upset, not upset, but just have it be miserable and mourn the death of Kung Lao. And maybe the spirit of Kung Lao could just come back and just fight off Shang Tsung's NetherRealm enemies together, just like in a video game. But I still say, if you were to borrow some elements from Shaolin Monks game, I think this movie has a high chance of getting good. What do you all think?